Hey fam, what's up, what's up, what's up? This is Robert Anton here, robertanton.com. Listen, I was just watching the second episode of The Voice of America, and I'm bringing you just a little bit of commentary. Well, it's probably going to be more than just a little bit. It's probably the whole darn show, because I took some notes here. And I was watching the show. I'm going to get into it a little bit, but I am first just going to go ahead and run down some of the information. So the show started, and we started with our first contestant, Cherie Oakley. She's 29, and she did Gunpowder and Lead. She sang, she did all right. I thought she did pretty good. Christina was the only one to chime in for her, and CeeLo was being very flirtatious as he is. He's been kind of a little skeevy on the show, but yeah, I guess that's just the way he is, very flirtatious. Adam said that she was too aggressive on the song for him, but I think that's the perfect fit for Christina. Very aggressive, very a good attack style. Then Devon Barley, 19, came in and did I'm Yours. First, CeeLo chimed in after being goaded by Blake. You know, he tried to push him to do it, and then Adam immediately chimed in. Devon chose Adam as his coach. And he's a young kid, he's in med school. I didn't think his voice was great, and I didn't think they were going to ring in for him. I really didn't. But it'll be interesting to see how he does and if he actually improves. Because, you know, a lot of times when you do that first audition and you do something, you know, nerves plays a big part of it. So we'll see what happens. But I was also thinking, is it a possibility that, you know, like some of the judges might have been pushing others to go for certain people in order to get less powerful people on their team, or people who aren't so good on their team? You know, it could be a strategy now, but I don't know. It just seemed kind of strange to me that they were trying to push each other to pick certain people instead of picking them themselves. Next up was Joshua Scott Hand. He was 29. He did Paparazzi, which was a strange choice, you know, Lady Gaga, but no one chimed in for him. Rachel Castro, 16, very young lady, did Bleeding Love, and Christina chimed in for her. Blake, again, was prodding Adam to chime in. He was like, go, you know, it was like, shut up, let the man decide for himself. I thought her nerves were playing a really big part of her audition, so I didn't think she was very great. Her voice was very, very shaky, and it just wasn't present. It wasn't all there. I hope that Christina can, you know, really work that out with her. Next up was Emily Valentine. She's 23 and she did Sober. Blake rang in, and then CeeLo. I wouldn't have chosen her. I wrote here that I wouldn't have chosen her. She said her voice was so nervous. Again, another one that was just so nervous they got up there to sing. You've made it through all these producers. You get on stage and you're just so nervous that you can't control your voice. And she said, no, I wasn't nervous, but my voice was nervous. Honey, your voice is you. So if your voice was nervous, you were nervous. Maybe you weren't nervous up here, but you were nervous here in the heart. And yeah, so she went with CeeLo. Next up was Tim Mahoney. He was 39. He did Bring It On Home to Me. And Adam chimed in right away. He loved his voice immediately. And he said he thought the guy was a girl. And it was a whole joke going around. Obviously, you're a guy, you have blah, 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 blah. But Blake said to Adam that they were going to make a great couple. So, you know, just the jokes flying back and forth. So, you know, there was a lot going on. They did choose some people that didn't show on camera. And I'm not going to mention those people right now because I'm sure they're going to come out more in other parts of the show, you know, the battle rounds and stuff like that. So I'm not even going to go there right now. If you want to see the rest of the show, you know, there are going to be clips on here, but they didn't show their full performances. Next, I have Julia Eason. She was 18 and she did Mercy. CeeLo and then Christina chimed in and she went with Christina, which was a good choice. Angela of 25, The House That Built Me. No one chimed in for her, unfortunately. Next up was Tyler Robinson. He was 20. He did Hey Soul Sister, and Blake rang in for him. I thought he had a really natural, wonderful, like baritone type voice. It was very full. I really enjoyed his voice, but he was so goofy. I mean, watching it, he just had like a goofy performance, and he did not look like he sounded, but I thought he had a great sound. Next up was Nakia. Nakia was 36, did Forget You, and looked very, very familiar for some reason. I don't know if he's from New York or what, but he looked familiar to me. And CeeLo chimed in, and then Blake chimed in. I think he did some really nice changes with the song. I had to do the song recently this weekend on a gig this past weekend, and that song is really difficult. It's got me like sore. You know, I didn't really get hoarse because I had a gig the next night also, so I was cool, but I was kind of sore because that is a really high, difficult song, and just rehearsing it. But anyway, I thought the kid did it, and not only did he do it, he made it his own. He had some really nice changes. He had some really nice inflections. Very, very strange, not strange looking guy, but just not the normal American artist, you know, pretty boy type look. He went with CeeLo, and I thought that was a wonderful choice, and I think that's who he was aiming for to begin with. Next up was Dia Frampton. She was 23. She did Bubbly. Blake rang in for her immediately. Then CeeLo rang in near the end, and she went with Blake. Next up was Curtis Grimes. He did Hillbilly Bone, and CeeLo Green rang in for him, and I think he wanted Blake, he really wanted Blake to ring in for him, but Blake did not ring in, and he said it was for many reasons. You know, the guy didn't have enough angst, he didn't have enough swagger, he didn't have enough this, enough that. You know, that's the way it is. He was maybe comparing it because of the history, I think, of the song and the way he saw the song. He didn't feel the guy had gotten any of that in the performance, so he didn't ring in for him. And next up were Tori and Taylor. They were sisters, 17 and 19, Tori and Taylor Thompson. And they did Stuck Like You, just a very cute, sweet, pretty performance. Someone of the judges, and I don't remember exactly right now who said that she thought it was, Christina thought it was a commercial, like the Doublemint commercial or something like that. And they said, "Oh, we've been called the Doublemint twins" or whatever. CeeLo chimed in for the girls at the very last minute, and I think there was a little pressure on the judges because they were like the last of the original auditioners. They had no more people left to audition, even though the judges had not picked their full teams. And I was tweeting, I was saying, why in the world did The Voice not choose enough people? With all of the auditions they had all over the country, they did not choose enough people for the judges to see and pick their dream teams. You know, because what ended up happening is they had to go back and give some people a second chance, which I thought, for one, kind of the blind audition thing, because the judges actually got to choose the 8 people that they were going to hear again, which means they remember those people and they would know who they are, you know, and they would know their look and their sound and stuff like that. So I didn't really like that. I thought that was really, just knocked out the blind audition thing. And what you have to do, because it is a show, they have to move forward. But I feel like there was not enough foresight in picking enough people in order to have enough to present to the judges. And that was the producer's fault. So get on that next time. If you want to battle American Idol for the crown, you are going to have to be on these types of things. So we come up with the second chances. And Elise was the first. She was 20. She did If I Ain't Got You. And Christina chimed in for her after passing on her the first time and regretting it. So I'm so sure that she remembered who the girl was and chose her now for her team. Sonia Rao did Chasing Pavements and still had no takers. She was still not buzzed in. And she really slayed the song. She did a wonderful job, and she sounded really good. And I don't understand why no one chose her. Several people looked like they were going to, but they did not choose her. Next, Jared Blake came back, country singer, and did Not Ready to Make Nice. And Blake rang in for him after passing again on the first time. And the only thing that I wrote here was, Blake seems to tower over everyone that comes down to like shake his hand and give him a hug or whatever. I don't know how tall this man is. I'm gonna have to look it up. Do you know? Put it down in the comments and tell me, how tall is he? He seems to be pretty darn tall. Yeah. So anyway, next up on screen was Casey Weston. She was 18 and she did Stupid Boy. I didn't think she sounded that good. She was really shaky and she just missed a lot of things in her performance. But Adam rang in for her, and it kind of irked me a little bit because Sonia Rao was better than her in her second performance. For me, now you can tell me your opinion, but I think so. Though she did play the guitar and she played it very well. Angela Wolff, her second time around, she's 25. She did Rolling in the Deep. I thought she did do better than she did her first time. And the first time she chose a song that was specifically, aimed at Blake. But Adam rang in for her this time. But when he turned around, he seemed more relieved to me than actually excited with the fact that he had found the last person on his team. So I think I have rammed through this, but I just wanted to get that out. I just felt like there was not enough foresight from the producers on picking enough people for the judges to really choose their dream team, because going back and giving a second chance is good for the artist, but I don't know if it's so good for the show, because I feel like more than likely some of these second chance people are going to be the first ones to leave. And you know what I really want to say is this is something that I saw with the judges that you see with everybody. A lot of times we don't trust our own instincts. And even the judges sitting up there, to me, a lot of times they would be, just about to pick someone or whatever, and they just wouldn't. Then they would turn around and be like, oh, God, I wish I would have. We seeing this show and watching, and if you guys watch, and tell me if you agree or if you don't agree. Even the 4 judges sitting up there, being in the music industry as long as they have been there, being successful artists, are not necessarily trusting their own instincts with the people that they chose. They were looking back from one to another to see if they were going to choose. Blake especially was holding back a long time. Most of the time he was often the last one to chime in on anybody, unless they were like the country artist, and even some of them he didn't chime in until the last minute. So do you think that it's a thing where we as a culture have gotten so used to being influenced by the media and by friends that we don't trust our own instincts? When we think we hear a wonderful voice or we think that we hear a great song, we wait to see if other people also enjoy it before we go ahead and decide that, okay, it's good for us to enjoy it ourselves. I don't know. I'm asking you that question. So chime in the comments and let me know what you think. I'm Robert Anton, robertanton.com. I am out. Peace.